This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. It's Wednesday, December 31st, 2025, New Year's Eve. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Blatant fraud appears to be rampant in Minnesota, and the Trump administration has now frozen child care funds to the state. I'm Ben Thomas.
A body is found in the search for a 19-year-old young woman in Texas. I'm Steve Futterman.
In Times Square, Mayor Eric Adams, ahead of the big New Year's Eve celebrations, assuring the public it will be a safe night. Julie Walker, New York.
Reports surface as to who was behind a Venezuelan port attack. We'll have details.
Wall Street has one more chance to add to its gains for the year after the third negative session in a row. I'm Jill Schneider.
New England Patriots star wide receiver Stephon Diggs is facing strangulation and other criminal charges. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
A new year means a new era at Berkshire Hathaway. I'm Ed Donahue.
All ahead on America in the Morning. It started with a viral video and has morphed into a multi-government agency investigation into suspected widespread fraud. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports authorities say they're cracking down on abuse at daycare centers in Minnesota and are now freezing federal child care funding statewide, a move that Governor Tim Walz says will defund programs that help people and children.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
In an online post, the CDC's acting director, Jim O'Neill, states blatant fraud appears to be rampant in Minnesota, and the Trump administration has now frozen child care funds to the state.
I have activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment. Second, I have just signed and sent a demand letter to Governor Walz. I required a full 360 review of these centers. This includes attendance records, licenses, complaints, investigations, and inspections.
The move follows years of investigation that began with a $300 million scheme at the nonprofit Feeding Our Future, for which 57 defendants have been convicted. Prosecutors said the organization was at the center of the country's largest COVID-19-related fraud scam, in which defendants exploited a state-run, federally funded program intended to provide food for children.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable. Regardless of rank or office, anyone who's involved in perpetrating this fraud against the American people should expect to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Earlier this month, the federal prosecutor alleged half or more of the roughly $18 billion in federal funds that supported 14 programs in Minnesota may have been stolen. I'm Ben Thomas.
The search for a missing teenager appears to have taken an ominous and tragic turn. Steve Futterman reports that police have found an unidentified body and a handgun in a field just blocks away from the home of Camila Mendoza Olmos, the 19-year-old missing since last week, which comes as another teenage girl in the same area around San Antonio has gone missing.
It all began a week ago on Christmas Eve. That's the last time anyone saw Camila Mendoza Olmos. A key clue came from a dash cam video from that morning showing a person resembling the 19-year-old near her home.
We believe that she did walk away from the residence on her own.
Javier Salazar is the county sheriff. From the start, he said nothing would be ruled out.
We've got to consider all possibilities, from disappearing willfully to the possibility of self-harm, to somebody may have taken her.
As the days went by this week, her father, Alfonso Mendoza, was distraught. He spoke to CBS News.
She's out there watching this, seeing me. I miss her. Come home. It's hard. It hurts. I might sound strong, but, I got my faith of God, but it hurts.
Her mother, Rosario, tried to remain hopeful. She spoke to KENS TV.
We are hopeful every day. At times we are broken, but we are staying strong because my daughter is missing and we don't know where she is at.
Last night,
they found what we believe to be a body at this point.
The sheriff said there were signs suggesting suicide.
During the course of the investigation, we developed some information that there may have been some suicidal ideations on Camila's part before, some signs of depression, undiagnosed as far as we can tell, but from what's being described to us, it sounds like it was a young person going through a very tough time in their life and going through some emotional issues. and there was some indicators of suicidal ideation.
And authorities did recover a firearm near the scene that belonged to Camila's family. I'm Steve Futterman reporting.
Preparations for revelers in Times Square, New York City tonight, when America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
We have reached the final day of 2025, and once again, we're watching a couple of systems impact the United States. The first of these systems is yet another Clipper-type storm that's moving through the Great Lakes, starting in Wisconsin and Michigan this morning, and then this will race quickly eastward to western New York into western Pennsylvania, with snow and squalls developing. A portion of this will also extend southward to northern Illinois into Indiana, Ohio, and even West Virginia. A few areas near the lakes will become quite heavy with reduced visibility and difficult travel conditions. And this will carry eastward quickly into the evening, leading to snow and flurries through the rest of Pennsylvania into Maryland and northward through New York and New England, which could introduce some travel challenges for late night revelry. Another system moving into the west, centered around Southern California, will have steadier rain near the coast and parts of northwest Arizona, with showers as far north as northern California and eastward into Nevada. And this system too will expand with steadier and heavier rain developing at night, and some rain and snow showers reaching as far east as New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, and southwest Wyoming. The rest of the nation is going to be largely dry today. The Northwest will have clouds and sun with highs in the 50s along the coast and dropping to the 30s and 40s inland. Portions of the plains will remain on the warmer side of average with sunshine and highs warming up into the 50s in parts of southern South Dakota and widespread 50s and 60s southward to Texas and Oklahoma, even a few 70s in parts of Texas. That's the weather across America. It's going to be a cool day for Miami, Florida, despite plenty of sunshine and a high of 65. It is going to be a cloudy and cool day in San Francisco, California, with showers and a high of 54. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. More than 1 million people will be in Times Square tonight in the heart of Manhattan to watch the ball drop and to usher in 2026. Correspondent Julie Walker reports on wide-ranging security preparations ahead of the New Year's Eve celebration.
In Times Square, Mayor Eric Adams ahead of the big New Year's Eve celebrations, assuring the public it will be a safe night.
While we do not have any specific or credible threats regarding the New Year's Eve festivities in Times Square, at this time we are continually operating in a heightened threat, and please be conscious of your surroundings.
But over the years, one threat has been harder to detect: the lone wolf.
We will have plainclothes K-9 teams, officers on horsebacks, on our trains, subway stations, and in helicopters and on boats. Pedestrians and vehicle closures will be in effect.
NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says for the first time ever, police will be doing secondary screenings of people inside the pens in Times Square.
First is at the access points to the event on 6th and 8th Avenue, so we can expedite entry or exit from the bow tie area. And the second is we are going to be doing secondary screening this year of people inside pens. So we will have mobile screening teams walking around the pens, and if we see anything that looks suspicious, we will have teams in place to do appropriate screening.
And Mayor Adams has a warning for protesters.
While we acknowledge that the city will respect and protect people's right to protest, we will have a zero tolerance for interfering with the celebration.
Officials say thousands of police will be working.
That includes officers from our specialized units, including Emergency Service Unit, K-9, the Bomb Squad, heavy weapons teams, and our harbor teams. Our helicopters and our drones will also be deployed during the day to provide comprehensive coverage in real time. We will also deploy dedicated pickpocket teams, hotel response teams, and additional uniform patrols to address quality of life and public safety concerns. There will be assets that you will see and others that you will not see.
Julie Walker, New York.
It appears that the Central Intelligence Agency was behind an explosion at a Venezuelan port earlier this month. CNN is reporting that it was a drone operated by the CIA that targeted a port facility at a dock that U.S. officials believe was used by members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Nobody was reported killed in the explosion. The first such attack linked to the United States on Venezuelan soil. This as the U.S. has launched more than 30 attacks on boats believed to be carrying drugs either in the Pacific Ocean or Caribbean Sea in waters near Venezuela. Meta jumps into AI superintelligence when America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning. Markets and more with CNBC's Jill Schneider this Wednesday.
Wall Street opens today for the last time in 2025. It is a full trading day, and while stocks have posted 3 negative sessions in a row, the major indexes are all on pace to post double-digit increases for the year. Tuesday, the Dow dropped nearly 95 points, about 0.2%, but for the year, it's up more than 13%. The S&P 500 slid 9 points Tuesday, but is 17% higher for 2025, and the Nasdaq tumbled 55 points yesterday, about 0.25%. But for the year, it's on pace for a 21% gain. The Federal Reserve has released minutes from its highly divisive meeting earlier this month, which concluded with a vote to lower interest rates again. It appeared to be an even closer call than the final vote indicated. Officials expressed a variety of opinions during the December 9th, 10th meeting that, according to the summary, provided a day ahead of its customary release due to the New Year's holiday. Ultimately, the FOMC approved a 0.25 percentage point cut by a vote of 9-3. That's the most dissents since 2019, as officials debated over the need to support the labor market against concerns over inflation. If you're frustrated that your utility bill is too high, you won't like this report. The Federal Energy Information Administration says residential electricity prices are expected to rise about 4% year over year on average nationwide in 2026. That's after an increase of nearly 5% in 2025. Meta closing 2025 with an 11th-hour acquisition, announcing it is buying Manus, a startup founded in China. It specializes in developing general-purpose AI agents.
This has been pretty par of the course for Zuckerberg. He's highlighted AI. He's deployed AI aggressively. He's already used it over the last 2 to 3 years to materially improve his ad platform and his user platform, and it showed up in the metrics and, more importantly, in the financials. But he's leaning into it even more aggressively now, and we're all chasing, or Meta is chasing a superintelligence product cycle.
Mark Mahaney is head of internet research at Evercore ISI. Where is the AI trade headed in 2026? Here's Bernstein research senior analyst Stacey Rasgon.
I actually don't think it stops in 2026. You can look at the forecasts that companies like NVIDIA or Broadcom have put out. You can look at where the current estimates are, and they're still way below that. I think there's still plenty of room for numbers to move higher.
On the watch list, we'll get the weekly look at first-time jobless claims. It's the last day on the job for a few top bosses as the CEOs of Etsy, Newmont, and Virgin Atlantic step down, and New Year's Eve celebrations take place around the world as we ring in 2026.
Thank you, Jill. CNBC's Jill Schneider. The next chapter for billionaire investor Warren Buffett when America in the Morning continues after these messages. One of football's top star wide receivers is facing criminal charges, including strangulation. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
Authorities say New England Patriots star wide receiver Stefon Diggs is facing strangulation and other criminal charges related to an incident earlier this month. News of the charges emerged after a court hearing on Tuesday in Dedham, Massachusetts. It was immediately unclear what led to the charges. Diggs' lawyer said in an emailed statement that Diggs, quote, categorically denies these allegations. The 32-year-old NFL veteran joined New England last March. He is the leading receiver for the AFC East champions with 82 catches and 970 yards receiving. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
At 95 years old, he still goes into the office and still keeps active. Warren Buffett, also known as the Oracle of Omaha, with the simple investing mantra of rule number 1, never lose money, and rule number 2, never forget rule number 1, is retiring as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Ed Donahue reports.
A new year means a new era at Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett isn't going anywhere. He'll remain chairman and plans to continue coming into the office every day. He's turning over the top spot to Greg Abel. Investors will be watching closely to see what changes Abel might make in Berkshire's trajectory, but they don't expect any seismic shifts. Buffett grew Berkshire from a struggling New England textile mill that he started buying for up to $7.60 a share in 1962 to the massive conglomerate that it is today, with shares that go for more than $750,000 a pop. Abel has already shown himself to be a more hands-on manager than Buffett, but he still follows the Berkshire model of autonomy for acquired companies. I'm Ed Donahue.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, December 31st, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Russia claims Ukraine attacked the residence of Vladimir Putin, but is there any evidence? I'm John Stolness in Washington.
Bail or no bail for D.C. pipe bomb suspect Brian Cole. I'm Rich Johnson.
The man who they're calling a hero and helping to save lives in the Bondi Beach shooting speaks out. I'm Bob Brown. That story ahead.
Meta acquires Chinese AI powerhouse. I'm the new old tech guy, Chuck Palm.
Multiple artists cancel performances to the newly renamed Kennedy Center. I'm Kevin Carr.
Controversy at an American military cemetery in Europe. New Orleans ratchets up New Year's security, and Ryan Seacrest talks Times Square on New Year's Eve. Back after these messages. Back on America in the Morning, here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy. Matt, what do we have?
We have another storm moving into the west. It is centered around Southern California with steadier rain near the coast and also expanding into parts of northwest Arizona. And there will be showers as far north as Northern California and eastward to Nevada. Fortunately, this is not going to be an atmospheric river situation, but some heavier rain can develop tonight as it continues to expand eastward. We'll have even some rain and snow showers as far east as New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, and southwest Wyoming. In the east, we have a clipper system moving through the Great Lakes, starting in Wisconsin and Michigan this morning, and then quickly moving eastward to western New York and western Pennsylvania. We'll have snow and squalls along that. Portion of this will also extend into northern Illinois, northern Indiana, and Ohio, and even West Virginia. Few areas near the lakes will become quite heavy with reduced visibility and some difficult travel conditions. And this will carry eastward quickly in the evening, leading to some snow and flurries through the rest of Pennsylvania into Maryland and northward through New York into New England, which could introduce some travel challenges for late-night partygoers. The rest of the nation will be largely dry today. The Northwest will have a mixture of sun and clouds. Highs will be in the 50s along the coast, dropping into the 30s and 40s inland. Portions of the plains will remain on the warmer side of average with plenty of sunshine. Highs will warm up into the 50s in parts of southern South Dakota and widespread 50s and 60s through Nebraska, Kansas, eastern Colorado, and Oklahoma, and even a few 70-degree readings in parts of Texas. You don't have to get too far to the north into Minnesota and North Dakota, where single digits will be the highs for the day. And then farther to the east and the southeast, there will be sunshine with highs in the 40s and 50s, though southern Florida will reach into the 60s. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Russia is claiming without evidence that Ukraine launched an attack on one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's residence. With Russia-Ukraine-U.S. diplomacy hanging in the balance, John Stolness has the story.
Despite calls from Ukrainian allies to show proof, the Kremlin has thus far refused to provide evidence to back up their claims that a Ukrainian drone targeted one of Putin's residences. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky angrily denied the accusations, saying on X, Russia was using dangerous statements to undermine all achievements toward a diplomatic peace. No independent confirmation has been made. Russia spokesman Dmitry Peskov, however, called the alleged incident a terrorist attack aimed at sabotaging President Trump's efforts to facilitate a peaceful settlement to the Ukrainian conflict. U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker tells Fox Business it's unclear if the Russians are telling the truth.
I know that there are reports from the Russian side that this alleged attack at one of the presidential palaces by drone or drones it is unclear whether it actually happened. You know, Ukraine is receiving drones and missiles every single night into their capital city. And, you know, all they can do is fight back.
During a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday, President Trump said Putin told him in a phone call the attack took place, but later acknowledged the attack may not have happened. Whitaker admitted it wouldn't make much sense for Ukraine to engage in this kind of attack now.
It seems to me a little indelicate to be this close at a peace deal, Ukraine really wanting to get a peace deal done, and then to do something that would be viewed as reckless or not helpful.
Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry on Tuesday showed pictures of what appeared to be intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Belarus, a neighboring country strongly supportive of Russia, a missile system capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. Despite this, Whitaker says he believes Russia does want the war to end.
I think there is a desire to end the war on both sides. I think it's just what the terms could be. You know, we're hearing 95% of the way there on the negotiations of a peace deal. That's fantastic.
John Stolness, Washington.
We await a ruling from a magistrate in Washington, D.C. about whether Brian Cole Jr. should be granted bail as he awaits trial for being accused of placing pipe bombs in the nation's capital on January 5th, 2021, the day before the Capitol riot. Following the case, here's correspondent Rich Johnson.
After listening to prosecutors and defense attorneys for 2 days, Judge Matthew Sharbaugh is promising an expeditious ruling, but also says it's a complicated case. Earlier this month when Cole was arrested, Attorney General Pam Bondi found no such complications.
Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021.
Cole's been held since then, but is seeking his release on bail before trial. Former federal prosecutor Paul Butler tells MS Now prosecutors laid out their evidence against bail.
The prosecution says that evidence includes his confession and also forensic evidence like cell phone data that connects him to the scene of the crime.
Another former federal prosecutor, Cully Stimson, tells Fox News he believes making bail is going to be a tough sell for Cole's legal team.
And this appears not to be a whodunit. Looks like he done it. Now he's presumed innocent. And he spent 4 hours talking to investigators. He didn't wait. He didn't ask for an attorney, apparently.
Cole's attorneys argued that Cole has no criminal record, and it's been 4 years since the pipe bombs were found, and he is not an ongoing threat. Butler says the defense tossed in one other point for bail.
His family owns a bail bondsman's business, and the defense lawyers say through that business where Mr. Cole works, he understands the importance of showing up in court.
They also labeled Cole as a troubled, socially isolated person whose risk can be managed with home detention, not behind bars. I'm Rich Johnson.
There's international backlash after a World War II U.S. military cemetery in the Netherlands, close to the borders of Belgium and Germany, removed 2 displays recognizing black troops who helped liberate Europe from the Nazis. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports on what led to the outrage where more than 8,000 American soldiers were laid to rest.
In the spring, the American Battle Monuments Commission removed the panels from the visitor centre at the American Cemetery in Margraten, the final resting place for over 8,000 US soldiers. The move came after President Donald Trump issued a series of executive orders ending many diversity programmes. This angered Dutch officials, the families of US soldiers and the local residents who honour the American sacrifice by caring for the graves. Linda Herveux, whose book Forgotten chronicles black soldiers who fought on D-Day away and segregation back home, says that they often saw their roles and contributions diminished.
Black American soldiers have participated in every war in American history since the Revolution. And since the Revolution, they saw their roles, their responsibilities diminished. And so by World War II, you had a concerted effort to keep them out of positions that mattered.
On America's Square, in front of Mount Gretna City Hall, is a small park named for Jefferson Wiggins, a black soldier. In his memoir, published posthumously in 2014, Wiggins describes burying the bodies of his white comrades, who he was barred from fraternizing with while they were alive. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Among the stories we're covering next, the case against a disgraced U.S. gymnastics coach continues when America in the Morning returns after these messages. This is America in the Morning. It was 1 year ago that a Muslim man rammed his pickup truck through a crowd in the historic French Quarter of New Orleans during the end of New Year's Eve festivities, leaving 14 people dead and dozens injured. This year, as the city also prepares to host college football's Sugar Bowl and prepares for Mardi Gras, there will be added security in the Big Easy. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports.
The National Guard, as you know, are expected to be in our city and in partnership with the city through Mardi Gras.
New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
And we absolutely are welcoming of those added resources.
Last New Year's, an attacker drove around a police blockade and plowed his vehicle through the crowds on Bourbon Street, killing 14. This year, in addition to the 350 National Guard members,
the Coast Guard providing aviation support, patrol boats, and shoreside patrols.
The city's Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, Colin Arnold.
It appears that we're going to have close to 800 law enforcement downtown and in the French Quarter, and I think that's going to be outstanding. You're going to see an incredible visual presence.
I'm Ben Thomas.
In Sydney, Australia, the hero who tackled a gunman during a mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration spoke exclusively to CBS News about that tragic day at Bondi Beach. Bob Brown has the story, audio courtesy CBS News.
In an exclusive interview with CBS News, Ahmed Al-Ahmed talks about the horror unfolding in front of him on Sunday, December 14th on Bondi Beach, where nearly 1,000 people gathered for a Hanukkah celebration, when suddenly two gunmen opened fire into the crowd, adults and children screaming everywhere.
What was going through your mind at that moment?
I couldn't handle it to hear kids and the woman and oldest and man screaming. And all everything in my organ, in my body, in my brain, asked me to go and to defense and to save innocent life.
Video showing him tackling the gunman while he's firing into the crowd.
Hundreds and hundreds, all of them in the ground. And he just shooting in front of him. Anyone he see him, straight away, I jumped to him in his back, hit him.
When the shooting stopped, 15 people have been killed, including a 10-year-old boy. Since the tragedy, a series of new laws have been passed in New South Wales, Australia, which includes Bondi Beach, among them giving police expanded authority to prohibit and disperse crowds for up to 3 months after an incident has been declared a terrorist attack. I'm Bob Brown.
In a case dubbed Nasser 2.0, an Olympic watchdog failed to close yet another abuse case against a gymnastics coach. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
Young gymnasts were sounding warnings about a coach as far back as 2017. That's the same year the U.S. Center for Safe Sport was created in the wake of the Larry Nassar sexual abuse scandal. People familiar with the case involving Sean Gardner told the Associated Press he had agreed to a permanent ban from coaching early this year, but the center never closed the deal. Safe Sport says putting Gardner on temporary suspension was effectively the same as a permanent ban. Gardner has pleaded not guilty to federal child pornography charges and is awaiting trial. I'm Gethin Coolball.
A year-end tech merger as Facebook parent Meta Platforms is acquiring a popular AI-based company from overseas. As the new old tech guy, Chuck Palm has the story.
Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp parent company Meta Platforms has announced the acquisition of Magnus, a Singapore-based artificial intelligence startup focused on autonomous AI agents. The deal is valued at more than $2 billion, although official terms were not disclosed. Magnus gained attention earlier this year with demonstrations of its general-purpose AI agents, a software capable of independently handling complex, multi-step tasks such as market research, data analysis, coding, or planning travel itineraries. The startup was founded in China before relocating to Singapore and reports annual recurring revenue exceeding $100 million from its subscription services, serving millions of users and businesses worldwide. Meta states that Magnus will continue to operate independently while its technology is integrated into Meta's products, including the Meta AI Assistant available across its platforms. The company also confirmed that there will be no continuing Chinese ownership or operations in China following the transaction. This acquisition marks another step in Meta's ongoing investment in AI capabilities. Most major cryptos are trading up, with Bitcoin trading at 88,300 and Ethereum at 2,965. For more tech news, follow thenewOldTechGuy.com. I'm Chuck Palm. Happy New Year.
America in the Morning continues with sports. Here's Robert Workman.
NBA Tuesday, the 76ers got by the Grizzlies 139-136 in overtime. 34 points apiece for Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. VJ Edgecombe added 25, including the go-ahead three ball with 2 seconds left in OT. College football bowl season. Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana Tech trailed Coastal Carolina by 11 at the half, but pitched a shutout in the second half and rallied for a 23-14 win. At the Music City Bowl in Nashville, Illinois squandered a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, but edged Tennessee 30-28 on David Olano's field goal as time ran out. And at the Alamo Bowl last night in San Antonio, TCU's Ken Seals took a swing pass 35 yards to the end zone in overtime as the Horned Frogs upended number 16 USC 30-27. 4 more bowl games today, then we're set for the first playoff quarterfinal tonight. The Cotton Bowl in Dallas, number 2 Ohio State against Miami, with the other quarters coming up on New Year's Day. Hockey, the Maple Leafs shut out the Devils 4-0. Joseph Walz stopped all 33 shots he faced. Islanders coughed up a 2-goal lead in the third, but shaded the Blackhawks 3-2 in a shootout. Bo Horvat with the winner.
I just tried to throw something different than coming in on my normal side, and thankfully it ended up working out.
Nick Suzuki scored the tying and winning goals as the Canadians tripped the Panthers 3-2 in overtime. And college hoops, number 13 Nebraska nailed New Hampshire. The Huskers now 13-0, best start in school history, and they wrapped up their first unbeaten non-conference slate since 1929. That's Wednesday Sports.
When we return on America in the Morning, New York's New Year Rockin' Eve. After these messages. It's been a whirlwind couple of weeks at the Trump Kennedy Center, with the facility's name at the center of the ire of some performers. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has details.
President Trump is facing more pushback for the changes made to the Kennedy Center. Issa Rae canceled her event when he took over the Board of Trustees in February, and in March, Lin-Manuel Miranda canceled all 2026 performances of Hamilton. On December 7th, Trump hosted the Kennedy Center Honors.
Please join me in honoring the 2025 Kennedy Center honorees.
In the Oval Office before the ceremony, he expected high viewership.
This will be the highest rated show that they've ever done.
But when the honors aired on December 23rd, it suffered a ratings drop of 35% from last year. After the board added Trump's name to the center on December 18th, jazz artist Chuck Redd canceled his annual Christmas Eve performance. In response, the administration threatened to sue him for $1 million. Other artists, including the Cookers, Doug Verone and Dancers, and Christy Lee, have also canceled their appearances. Several members of the Kennedy family have spoken against the name change, and experts agree that it's likely illegal because doing so would take an act of Congress. The name change was anticipated, considering Trump teased it on the red carpet.
Do you think the center will eventually be named the Trump Kennedy?
I don't know. I hear that, but I don't know. That's not up to me. That's up to the board.
Former South Park writer Toby Morton saw it coming in August when he snatched up the domains TrumpKennedyCenter.org and .com. Morton built fake websites for those domains, advertising the next performance as the Epstein Dancers. I'm Kevin Carr.
More than 1 million people will be braving cold temperatures, and another billion people watching from around the world. Ryan Seacrest is returning for the 20th year to host Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve tonight from New York City, where he, actress and singer Rita Ora, and dozens of musical performers will usher in 2026 in New York's Times Square. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Ryan Seacrest is returning to co-host Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve for a 20th year, and for him, it never gets old.
I think that this show, the nostalgia, the moment, the tradition, the fact that we can all start over and from scratch every year when this ball drops, all that is so significant and important, and we respect that. And I was a viewer. I was a fan. I did the same thing when I was growing up, and so we are now just here doing it.
This year, he has a secret weapon to stay warm.
I actually, for the first time, I have electric socks. They have batteries in. I've never seen this before, but I have them. Let's see if they work.
His co-host Rita Ora is also looking forward to ringing in the new year in Times Square again.
As your favorite Brit, I'm just really honored to be a part of the celebrations.
The show features 42 artists and 90 performances, and the star of the show, besides the New Year's Eve ball, will be Diana Ross singing a medley of her hits.
This is a record-breaking show for us in terms of its length and the number of performers and songs. And it's fitting with the big 250th coming up.
Julie Walker, New York.
And in case you haven't heard it, let us be first to say Happy New Year. America in the Morning for Wednesday, December 31st, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.